Storm Emeralda is the next set coming to the Japanese Pokemon TCG, and it's the set we're going to be getting in late November. We are meant to be getting it in September, but then the 30th anniversary dropped, and that's been pushed back, so now November. Now, earlier on in the month, we did actually get the set reveal with the artwork. However, now we have actually got the reveal of the Pokemon card itself for Rayquaza EX, as well as a few others that we're going to have a quick look at today. So starting things off, we've got Mega Rayquaza EX. It's a colourless, obviously, for the flying type, which really surprised me. I did expect it to be a dragon, with a base 280 HP, which isn't the worst considering it is a stage, or it's a basic, sorry. But I kind of expected it to maybe be around 290, 300. Not that it makes a massive difference, but 280 just wasn't what I was expecting. You've got the ability Champion Draw when you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench. During your turn, you can use this ability. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck and attach a basic energy you find there to this Pokemon. Shuffle the remaining cards and put them on the bottom of your deck. Obviously, the whole idea of this ability is to set up the attack, which we're going to get onto in a second. I think it's going to be a bit hard to pull off unless you play something like Academy at Night or maybe a Cypher Maniac's Code Breaking to make sure whatever the top 4 cards are, they are the energy that you want to attach to Rayquaza. Besides that, don't think it's a crazy ability. And obviously, because this Rayquaza is a colourless card, it does get shut down by Team Rocket's Watchtower, which obviously stops every colourless Pokemon's ability. So it's a bit annoying if you want to try and set this up quickly, but I don't think it's going to be too big of a problem. And moving on to the attack, he's only got one fire, 1 lightning, 1 colourless. Storm Emeralda does 50 damage. This attack does 50 damage times the number of fire and lightning energies attached to all your Pokemon in play. I can't lie, I'm not really that excited about it. I was expecting, I don't know what I was expecting, wasn't this. It is kind of crazy that, again, he is a colourless and he's got a multi-typing energy attack, which isn't something you really see on anything other than a dragon type or maybe a Terra type Pokemon. And obviously, if you've only got the energies attached to Rayquaza, say you've got 2 fire, 1 lightning, you're only going to be doing 150 damage, and he's a colourless Pokemon. He can't hit for weakness, like, at all. I mean, neither could Dragon, but at the same time, he's also weak to lightning, which, while there isn't too many lightning decks around at the moment, he's still got an inbuilt or built-in weakness, sorry. Now, if you're going to make a deck round with him, obviously, I'm not going to be doing anything at the moment because we don't know what else has been revealed for the set. There's a few other cards which are going to be coming up in a minute, but it's only a very small handful of them. But right now, we don't know what else has been revealed, so I'm not going to bother trying to think of making a deck list for him at this moment in time. Obviously, accelerating lightning energy is a bit annoying. The only way to really do that is with the electric from Black Bolt, where obviously it has Dynamotor. You can accelerate 1 lightning from your discard to a bench Pokemon. And then for the fire energy, we have got things like Embolt from Black Bolt, White Flare, whichever one it was in, where once or whenever during your turn, you can attach as many fire energies to your Pokemon as you want. Now, obviously, I think what one of the ideas is with this, unless we get anything else that's been introduced into the set, there is a few other cards that kind of feed into it. Crispin would be a good one here, obviously letting you search your deck for 2 energies of 2 different types. You attach one to your Pokemon, and then you put the other one in your hand. Could be good for a rapid acceleration onto Rayquaza to try and get an early game knockout if he's your, first Pokemon. But obviously, the ability only plays when you're putting him from your hand onto the bench. Your starting hand, when you first draw and you put your Pokemon down, if he's the one you put in the active spot or in your bench, it won't count as the ability. All in all, right now, I don't think it's the greatest idea to kind of, judge too hard on the card because we don't know what else has actually come out in the set. If there's going to be anything else that feeds into him apart from what we've been shown already. But from the first looks, I'm honestly not that impressed. I feel like this card's going to have a really good SIR, because if it doesn't have an SIR, that is absolutely crazy. But besides that, I just don't think it's going to be that impactful meta-wise. I might be completely wrong. Someone could make a really good meta deck with it, and if they do, fair enough. But right now, as things stand, I honestly can't see them being that broken. Now, moving on from the Mega Rayquaza, we have got a Talonflame EX line. So let's get into that. So first up, you've got the Fletchling, all colourless, HP is 60. So weak to Dragapult there because it can get 1 hit by the Phantom Dive. For 1 colourless, it does 30 damage. You flip a coin. If it's tails, the attack does nothing. What you'd expect from a stage 1. Moving on to Fletchlinder, the stage 1 Pokemon. I did just call Fletchling stage 1, it's a basic, my bad. 80 HP, so it's a little bit more, takes it out of the range of Phantom Dive, but still at risk of something like a Dusclops or Dusknoir attack. For 2 colourless, you're doing clutch 40 damage during opponent's next turn. The defending Pokemon can't retreat. It's a nice little retreat lock there. I still don't think that's too crazy, but 40 damage for 2 colourless energies is still not bad. And then finally, you have got Talonflame EX, colourless for 280 HP, so not the greatest for a stage 2, but again, it's not the worst. It's the exact same as Mega Rayquaza EX. It's got the ability at Sight to Dive. If this Pokemon is in your hand and you have a colourless Mega Pokemon in play, you may use this ability, put the Pokemon onto your bench. Obviously, if you have something like a Mega Lopunny, Rayquaza, or a Kangaskhan in play, you can put him down for free, completely skipping the other two, which is actually pretty good. And then for 2 colourless, you do 150 damage, and you can search your deck for up to 2 cards and put them into your hand, then shuffle you. Is it the greatest attack in the world? No. But it is also a search engine because you can search your deck for 2 cards. It can be any cards you want. It's essentially a slightly worse version of the Terra Greninja's Shinobi Blade, where you do 170 for 1 water, and you can search your deck for 1 card. While you do search for 2 here, which is an improvement, it costs 1 more energy and it does a bit less damage. Now, much like the Mega Rayquaza, this one is weak to lightning, or whatever you want to call it, and is resistant to fighting. Obviously, right now in the meta, we haven't got too many lightning aggressive meta decks. The only one that I could really think of is potentially a Mega Manectric deck. But even then, he's not really played that much with how much fighting is currently in the meta, because you will just get one shot by anything. All in all, I don't think this is anything crazy. I feel like if you're doing a colourless deck, this could be a good search engine for you. But again, I wouldn't be looking to use this as the main attacker in a deck anytime soon. And then moving on to a couple of item or trainer cards we have here. So first one is a item card, Adventuring Lantern. Search your deck for a basic fire and a lightning energy and reveal them and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck, which obviously feeds directly into Mega Rayquaza, who attacks for a fire, a lightning, and a colourless. If you are running a Mega Rayquaza deck, then obviously this is a no-brainer to have because it helps you get set up way quicker. But besides that, I don't think it's anything too crazy. Obviously, if you're running any like fire or lightning deck, then this could be like a last-ditch sort of thing to add in. But at that point, you might as well just want energy search because you can search your deck for anything. It doesn't have to have a fire or lightning. But if you are running any deck that has both fire and lightning energies in it, I can't think of any off the top of my head, but maybe there's a Terra Pokemon that has them besides Mega Rayquaza, then this is a good card to have. And then we have got a Pokemon tool, Mega Rayquaza Cap. The Pokemon this card is attached to can use the attack on this card. Dealt a gift for 1 colourless energy for each of your Pokemon in play that has a Mega Rayquaza Cap attached to it. Search your deck for a basic energy card and attach it to that Pokemon, then shuffle your deck. It's an interesting idea. If you're running a deck that requires a lot of energy, and this is actually a really good way to get it set up if you are going second, first turn, because obviously you can attack during your first turn if you're going second, but this also does then require you to have at least probably 2, I would say, in play, otherwise you're not really getting a benefit. Obviously, I'm going to assume based off this texting that you can attach an energy to the Pokemon that's used the attack because he has got the tool attached to it. But to me, it does feel like a bit of a wasted slot for a tool card. Obviously, a lot of people run different ones right now. Air Balloon is a very prominent one because it reduces the retreat cost by 2. If you're running a single Prota deck, then 100% you're going to be running something like Brave Bangle or maybe even Max Belt to do more damage to your opponent's EX. And not to mention as well, Hero's Cape is a very prominent A spec at the moment, which is a tool card increasing the HP of the Pokemon it's attached to by 100. It is really popular right now and it's shot up in price, so a lot of people are running that in their decks, especially for things like Crustle. I feel like this card is not that great. The idea behind it is solid and I see what they were trying to do and the concept is great, but unfortunately there's just not many consistent ways of searching out Pokemon tools from your deck anymore. Obviously there's Team Rocket's Petrol, which can search for any trainer card, but you can only run 1 supporter per turn. But all in all, it's a cool idea, and like I said, there might well be other cards coming in this set which synergize with this or the other cards we've seen already. And then we've obviously also got 2 supporters shown to us. So you've got MC's Hype supporter, draw 2 cards. If your opponent has 3 or less prize cards remaining, draw 2. Don't think it's that great. I feel like if there's going to be a starter deck coming out, which there is in Japan, there might well be one coming out here. It could be used there to kind of learn how to play the game, or maybe in the pre-releases. But besides that, I don't think it's going to be that strong because it's maximum 4 draw. You'd be better off doing something like a Lilies where you can draw a fresh 6 or even 8 if you have like all your prize cards remaining. But even if you have like 1 prize card left, you're still drawing at least 6 cards, which I feel like is a lot better. Obviously, I could be completely wrong. There could be some deck in the meta which utilizes this. I just personally don't see it being that strong. But at the end of the day, it is also a way to draw more cards, so there's a chance. The other one that I'm more interested in is Zinnia's Trust. Switch your active Pokemon with one of your benched, and if you do, move 1 energy from your previous active to your new active. So this is essentially a pumped up switch. They've kind of been doing this a good bit recently. Obviously, we had AZ's Tranquility, where you could do the same thing, only instead of moving in energy, you heal you healed health from the Pokemon that you move back. This one is obviously meant to be a built-in switch and energy switch, which is kind of cool. I feel like it's going to be very situational, but if you are doing like a single energy cost attack and you want to do that to quickly swap out your damage active with your fresh one and you move the energy across, it could be interesting there. But besides that, I don't think it's going to be too crazy. I mean, you know, AZ's Tranquility has seen a little bit of play in some decks, and I feel like this one will as well. But at the same time, there are so many more important supporters that people play at the moment. Obviously, Boss's Orders, Lily's Determination, Win, it's going to be a good one when Pitch Black comes out. Yeah, there's several others that people run, but I still think this is going to be finding a place in some meta decks somewhere. And then moving on to the end, there is one more, technically 2 more cards that I want to take a look at, which are, for me, so far, the highlight of the cards we've been revealed to, we've been shown to, whatever. I don't know English. But that is Legendary Summit Stadium. You can only put this card and play from your hand with the other half of Legendary Summit, and it counts as 1 stadium card while in play. Yes, they are bringing back 2-parter stadiums. Obviously, they did try it again, I think, with Angie Fluette with the Prism Tower, or whichever the other one was, for when Mega Fluette came out in Chaos Rising. Didn't land that great, but this one I feel like it's a bit different because it doesn't target just Mega Fluette. When knocked out by damaging an opponent's attack, both players' colourless Pokemon give up 1 less prize card, which obviously I think they're really trying to make it synergize with Mega Rayquaza here. I don't think it's going to make a massive difference, but there are some other cards that I think that we have in the meta so far, which are probably going to pair quite nicely with this, which I'll get to in a second. But I would just like to say the artwork on that stadium is beautiful. Obviously, it is 2 separate cards, so I'm going to imagine that you're going to be required to pull it 2 different times. I have no idea if this is the full art version or if that's just what the stadium looks like, because if that's what the stadium looks like, that is awesome. But I have a feeling they might do another one where it's obviously a lot more simple than that. But regardless, I think it does look really cool. Moving on to the Pokemon I feel like are going to be good to pair with this stadium. Megalopunny is an obvious one. It was doing really great before rotation, and then since rotations hit, it's not been doing as well, but there's still some place for it. It's still used, obviously, as a shred attack with Spiky Hopper, and Gale Thrust in general doing 230 damage for 1 energy on a stage 1 is really good. So if you do end up running like a Megalopunny deck, this stadium would benefit you massively because it turns it into a 2-prizer from a 3-prizer, which could annoy the opponent so much because it could stop their prize mapping from being as prominent as it was before. Now, moving on to the next one. Mega Kangaskhan. Obviously, it's got your run errand ability where you can draw 2 if it's in the active, and then rapid fire combo. Mega Kangaskhan is used in a lot of decks at the moment, and it's even sort of its own standalone deck, which doesn't do too well. I know it's somewhere on the TCG meta, but it's not the greatest. But a lot of decks run it along with the Dunsparce draw engine. So if you have this in play, or if you have a lot of copies of this and you use it as an attack, and you're not running anything else for your stadium, there's no harm in running it because it turns this Kangaskhan, which is weak to fighting, bear in mind that all, like both of these are, so it turns it into a 2-prizer, which I think is going to be really helpful if you do end up running it together. And then the last one that I want to touch on today, there's obviously going to be others that people are going to find are useful, but there's one more which I want to include, which isn't exactly crazy meta. It's quite a rogue deck, but it is a fun one that I have seen pop up every now and then. It's the Bouffalant deck. It's got the ability Curly Wall. As long as you have at least one of the Buffalant in play, all of your basic colorless Pokemon take 60 less damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. People, when we're running this, I think before rotation or just after rotation, combined with the Mega Kangaskhan and the Buffalant EX that came from Backbolt White Flare, it didn't do crazy, but it did pretty well. I think it made it to like the finals or a top 8 cut in the seniors or juniors division before at one of the major sort of competitions. It's still a funny road deck, and it's one that I do kind of want to try out. So I feel like if you're running this deck, it's going to be a really good one to add into it. Now, obviously, the main downside to this is the fact that you have to put it in play with both halves of the stadium in your hand. You can't just put one half down and put the other half down next turn. They both count as one stadium, so if you only have one half, you can't play it, which is a bit more annoying because that's, you know, taking up 8 slots. Assuming you're running 4 copies, that's up to 8 slots in your deck for simply, essentially, one stadium compared to 4, which is a bit annoying, but I feel like if you can get it working, it'd be pretty good. Obviously, this is a stadium. It can get knocked by any other stadium, and there are very few decks in the meta that don't run any copies of a stadium at the moment. But yeah, that is all I have to touch on today. I wanted to make a quick video, get it edited and uploaded so you guys can see and kind of help you brainstorm ideas. But let me know what you guys think about the cards that have been revealed to us. Obviously, there's going to be more that are revealed. There's not only going to be these handful of cards in the set. That'd be absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, this comes out in Japan next month in July time, and for us, like I said, it will be November time. You know, it's a bit more of a wait gap compared to what we've had recently, but the 30th anniversary set will be coming out, so I think that makes up for it. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. Tell me what you think in the comments below. But until then, thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like and subscribe for more. My name is Orthorn. Goodbye.